From the prison guard who was filmed during an encounter in a cell to the guard who was forced to kiss an inmate during a routine check, guards have had shocking encounters with inmates. In this video, I will tell you about the experiences that prison guards have had at the hands of inmates. Rachel Wilson. In the summer of 2021, a scandalous incident occurred at Adwell Prison in West Lothian, Scotland. A shocking video surfaced showing prison guard Rachel Wilson passionately kissing inmate Kevin Hogg. Rachel Wilson had only been in the position since the spring of that year and could hardly imagine that her brief tenure would end in a scandal that would make headlines. Kevin Hogg, an inmate serving a 3-year sentence for traffic offences, would become the centre of the controversy. But how did this shocking incident unfold? The incident took place in Hogg's modern white-walled cell, which seemed only the clip of 79 seconds begins with Hogg placing a mobile phone on a shelf in front of the door, a clear indication that his actions were premeditated. With the camera already in place, he walks around for a few seconds before stopping to drink water, apparently preparing for what is about to happen. A few seconds later, Rachel Wilson appears at the cell door. The two exchange whispers before Hogg grabs Wilson and pulls her in for a kiss. The kiss lasts only a few seconds, but its impact is enormous. After the kiss, Wilson exits the cell, and Hogg stops recording. The video quickly spread among the inmates and staff, reaching as far as Barlin Prison in Glasgow. As the footage circulated, speculation soared. Was Rachel Wilson being blackmailed, or was it a consensual act? Could Kevin Hogg have forced her to kiss him and was hiding the footage? Initially, the theory that Hogg recorded the video to blackmail Wilson seemed very likely. The way he prepared the phone and filmed the kiss suggested he had a plan. But when the video spread, it became clear that there was more to the story. If Hogg had been trying to blackmail Wilson, he would not have allowed the video to spread like wildfire. Instead, he would have withheld it and used it to force her to comply with his demands. The way things turned out was proof that he had other intentions. He had recorded the kiss to show off. He wanted to boast to other inmates about having a prison officer kiss him. The video itself provided important clues to support this new theory. Wilson's body language and lack of resistance indicated that she had participated voluntarily. If she had been coerced, she would have pressed the panic button, but she did not. In blackmail situations, the victim usually shows signs of distress or fear. Wilson's behavior in the video does not suggest she was under duress. This points to a consensual act, not coercion. As the investigation progressed, the blackmail theory continued to crumble. Evidence pointed to a different version: lack of judgment and professional conduct. While the investigation continued, Rachel was relieved of her duties, but it is unclear if charges were filed against her. Johanne Hunter. Johanne Hunter, a bright and ambitious young woman, graduated with a master's degree in childhood and youth studies. With her future ahead of her, she was eager to make a positive impact on society. In December 2018, she got her first job as a prison officer at HMP Forest Bank in Salford. Hunter's new role was challenging, but she was determined to succeed. Little did she know, her life was about to take a dramatic turn. Enter Connor Willis, an inmate known for his arrogance and criminal record. Willis was known for his arrogance and being one of the leading members of a criminal gang. Despite her initial aversion to him, Hunter found herself drawn to Willis. Their relationship began in early 2019. At first, Hunter disliked Willis due to his arrogant attitude. However, Willis, sensing her naivety, began to manipulate her, making her believe he was in love with her. Willis's charm and manipulation worked. Hunter, described as naive and vulnerable during the trial, believed Willis's declarations of love. She felt the need to reciprocate his feelings and do what he asked. It wasn't long before Willis asked Hunter to smuggle contraband packages into the prison. Hunter received the packages from an anonymous woman at a Tesco supermarket, and all she had to do was introduce them. Despite knowing the risks, she agreed to smuggle them into the prison. Hunter's criminal activities had begun. She smuggled the packages into the prison and handed them to another inmate, a member of a criminal gang for Willis. Although Willis offered to pay her between £200 and £300 per package, Hunter refused to accept the money. Hunter's actions were motivated by her misguided belief in Willis's love and her own vulnerability. Her naivety made her an easy target for Willis's manipulation, leading her down a path of crime and deceit. In December 2020, suspicions about Johan Hunter's activities reached a critical point. The prison authorities received information that she was smuggling contraband into the prison, and an investigation was initiated to uncover the truth. Security officials called Hunter in for questioning. Under pressure, she admitted to having a relationship with Connor Willis and trafficking packages for him. This confession was just the beginning of a deeper scandal. A thorough search of Hunter's belongings revealed explicit photographs and messages she had sent to Willis. These messages included Willis's requests for various substances. The evidence was irrefutable. Other investigations revealed the contents of the packages from the anonymous woman at Tesco. These packages, which included a juice carton and a Red Bull can, were coated with drugs. Hunter's actions had jeopardized the prison's security, leading to an increase in criminal activity, disciplinary problems, and a risk of violence. The investigation provided evidence of her involvement in the smuggling operation. In court, she pleaded guilty to the charges of conspiracy to commit a crime in the performance of a public duty and of introducing or transporting cannabis into the prison. Her lawyer, Richard Orme, argued that Hunter was a naive, impressionable, and vulnerable young woman whom Willis had taken advantage of. Orme described Hunter as mature enough for an unscrupulous criminal to exploit her in her first job out of education. He emphasized that Hunter had never had a serious relationship or a boyfriend because she was focused on her education. Hunter's dedication to her studies had left her inexperienced in matters of the heart. Orme argued that she was a fish out of water, out of her depth in a prison environment, making her an easy target for Willis's manipulation. In the end, Hunter received a 3-year sentence. The judge justified the decision by stating that her actions had struck at the heart of the criminal justice system. Suleika Santiago. Suleika Santiago, a 28-year-old woman from Spartanburg, South Carolina, seemed to have a promising career ahead of her as a prison officer at the Union County Detention Center on Jonesville Highway. She had been entrusted with the responsibility of maintaining order and discipline at the facility. Santiago's position demanded vigilance, professionalism, and above all, ethics. However, beneath the uniform and badge, Santiago's life took an unexpected and scandalous turn. It all began with seemingly innocent interactions with an inmate whose identity has not been revealed. These interactions soon turned into something much more personal. The inmate, who was serving a sentence for undisclosed offenses, managed to form a bond with Santiago that went beyond the expected boundaries of her role. As days turned into weeks, the interactions between Santiago and the inmate became more frequent and intimate. Santiago, who was supposed to uphold the law and maintain a strict professional distance, found herself attracted to the inmate. The relationship took a darker turn when Santiago began engaging in intimate interactions with the inmate. According to arrest records, she had sexual relations with the inmate on multiple occasions. These actions marked the beginning of a scandal that would not only end her career, but also bring severe legal consequences. Santiago's actions constituted a clear violation of the ethical standards expected of a prison officer. Her role was to enforce the rules, not to break them. The bond she established with the inmate was not only inappropriate but illegal due to the power dynamics present in prisons. Any relationship between a staff member and an inmate is considered an abuse of power. Although it is unclear how the details of the illicit relationship came to light, an investigation was promptly launched. When confronted with the evidence, Santiago admitted her offenses and was relieved of her duties. She was also charged with 2 counts of first-degree sexual misconduct with an inmate. Santiago's sentence is not public knowledge, but it is likely consistent with the crime she committed. However, some people believe that since the details surrounding the relationship and the investigation have been kept from the public, there may have been more to it. Santiago might have been a victim. Tina Gonzalez. Tina Gonzalez began her career at the Fresno County Jail in 2016. At just 26 years old, she was considered a dedicated and hard-working prison officer. For 3 years, she maintained an apparently impeccable record, earning the trust and respect of her colleagues. But beneath the surface, a scandal was brewing that would ultimately lead to her downfall. The initial discovery of Gonzalez's illicit activities came when the Anti-Narcotics Unit of the Sheriff's Office and the Internal Affairs Division of the department received a tip-off. The information suggested that an inmate had received a mobile phone and was having sexual relations with a prison officer. This information led to an immediate and thorough investigation. As the investigation unfolded, disturbing details emerged. It was discovered that Gonzalez had not only had sexual relations with the inmate, but had also smuggled various contraband items into the jail for him, including a mobile phone that allowed the inmate to communicate with the outside world and razors. Additionally, Gonzalez provided the inmate with insider information about when the staff would inspect his cell, allowing him to hide any contraband items or activities. The consequences of Gonzalez's actions were severe. By smuggling contraband and maintaining a relationship with an inmate, she had not only violated the center's rules and regulations, but had also jeopardized the safety of her colleagues and other inmates. The investigation revealed the extent to which Gonzalez had betrayed the trust placed in her as a prison officer. Sheriff's Deputy Steve Momus, a 26-year veteran of the Sheriff's Office, was particularly disappointed by Gonzalez's conduct. He stated that, in his long career, he had seen and heard some pretty disgusting things, but Gonzalez's actions topped his list. The most shocking revelation was that Gonzalez had allegedly made a hole in her uniform to make it easier for her to have sexual relations with the inmate. This act represented a complete disregard for the center's rules and regulations. When the police gathered irrefutable evidence against her, Gonzalez was arrested. Despite being caught red-handed, Gonzalez showed no signs of remorse. The phone calls between her and the inmate, recorded after her arrest, revealed that she was continuously in contact with him. These were not casual conversations, but sexually explicit ones filled with boastful statements about the crimes she had committed. When the case went to court, Gonzalez pleaded not guilty to a charge of sexual activity by a detention center employee with a confined adult with consent, a charge of possession of drugs or alcohol in a correctional facility, and a misdemeanor charge of possessing a mobile device with the intent of delivering it to an inmate. Despite facing a penalty of up to 3 years and 8 months in prison, the outcome of the trial left many dissatisfied. Prosecutor Kylan Drake recommended a 15-month sentence, arguing that Gonzalez's actions had put the lives of her co-workers and other inmates in serious danger. Drake pointed out the severity of Gonzalez's misconduct and the potential risks it posed to the jail's security. On the other hand, Gonzalez's defense attorney, Martin Tallis, argued for a more lenient sentence, suggesting probation instead of jail time. He claimed that Gonzalez had taken responsibility for her actions and was in a vulnerable situation at the time, as she had just ended her marriage. Tallis argued that Gonzalez never intended to cause harm or danger to the staff or anyone else in the jail. In the end, the court sentenced Tina Gonzalez to 2 years of probation and 7 months in the county jail. Nisha Newell. In the heart of Butler County, Ohio, Nisha Newell had only been working as a prison officer for 18 months when things took an unexpected turn. Her career seemed promising, but no one knew that behind the walls of the county jail, a scandal was brewing. It all began when a sharp-eyed prison sergeant noticed something unusual. This sergeant, whose name has not been revealed, had a hunch that something was wrong with Nisha's activities. He observed behaviors and actions that raised red flags, so he decided to report his suspicions to higher authorities. The Butler County Sheriff's Office, led by Major Mike Kraft, took the sergeant's concerns seriously and launched an investigation into Nisha's conduct. The investigation quickly revealed chilling evidence. It was discovered that Nisha had smuggled contraband items into the jail, including a mobile phone and e-cigarettes. These items are strictly prohibited within the jail because their presence poses a significant security risk. The discovery of the contraband items was just the tip of the iceberg. As the investigation progressed, more damning evidence came to light. Nisha's actions also constituted a violation of the law. But there was more. During the questioning about the contraband, Nisha made a startling confession. She admitted to having had sexual relations with an inmate. This confession confirmed the investigators' suspicions and further complicated the case. Authorities were now dealing not only with contraband, but also with a severe breach of ethical and legal boundaries. Once the truth was known, Nisha was dismissed and charges were filed against her. She was charged with 2 counts of sexual assault and illegal transportation of a communication device into the jail. Speaking to a news team, then Butler County Sheriff Richard Jones stated that more charges would be filed against her, but this did not happen. During the trial, it was revealed that after her arrest, Nisha was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. This diagnosis added a new dimension to the case, opening the possibility that the inmate involved had exploited Nisha's mental health condition. Despite this new information, Nisha did not avoid taking responsibility for her actions. In a statement, she said, "I understand that I have broken the law. Along with that, I am also aware that I have cast a negative light on the sheriff's office, disappointing all the honourable officers who work there and are building their careers. I have disappointed the community in which we live and broken a huge level of trust." In the end, Nisha Chanel pleaded guilty to a charge of sexual assault and was sentenced to 2 years in prison by a Butler County judge. Kawana Jenkins. This scandalous incident took place within the walls of the Fulton County Jail, a place meant to uphold law and order, and it all started with a routine shakedown. During a routine search, agents carefully looked for contraband. These searches are standard procedure aimed at maintaining security and preventing illegal items from circulating in the jail. What they did not know was that this particular search would uncover something far more disturbing than they had initially thought. Among the seized items was a contraband mobile phone. Upon examining the device, agents came across a video that shocked the entire community. The explicit video showed 36-year-old Kawana Jenkins, a prison officer, engaging in sexual activity with a man who would later be identified as one of the jail's inmates. In the video, Jenkins is seen sitting in her uniform, a symbol of her authority and responsibility. Suddenly, a man's finger appears near her mouth, and she performs a sexual act with him. The video ends abruptly, but the damage was already done. The evidence was undeniable and damning. The discovery of this video led to immediate action. The sheriff's deputies were stunned and quickly reported the incident to their superiors. The gravity of the situation was evident, and the Fulton County Sheriff's Office had no choice but to act swiftly. As the investigation continued, Sheriff Pat Labonte, committed to transparency and accountability, issued a statement emphasizing that one individual's actions do not reflect the values of the entire sheriff's office. As the investigation progressed, it was discovered that the man behind the camera was a well-known inmate at the facility. He had taken care not to show his face, but what he did not know was that the tattoos on his hand, clearly visible in the video, would eventually lead to his identification. Jenkins was quickly arrested and charged with improper sexual contact and cruelty to inmates. Before the trial began, she was relieved of her duties and is likely to face jail time for her offences. From the detention officer uniform to the orange jumpsuit of the Fulton County Jail, Kawana Jenkins's life took a dramatic turn. The once respected officer now faced serious charges, and her career in law enforcement was in ruins. The incident not only tarnished Jenkins's reputation, but also raised serious questions about security and supervision within the jail. The story begins in July 2014 within the walls of the St. Clair County Jail. Gemma Sertwaite, a 27-year-old prison officer, was known for her professionalism and dedication. However, her life took an unexpected turn when she met an inmate during her routine duties. The inmate, whose identity remains protected, was serving a sentence for several serious offences. Despite the strict rules and professional boundaries, a connection began to develop between Sertwaite and the inmate. This mutual feeling of connection laid the groundwork for what would become a deeply inappropriate relationship. The relationship took a significant turn when, in the spring, the inmate obtained a work release permit. This program allowed her to leave the jail during the day to work. This new freedom provided Sertwait and the inmate with the opportunity to take their relationship to the next level. It was during this period that the inmate began visiting Sertwait's home to use the shower. What started as a gesture of kindness, allowing the inmate to shower and rest during her meal breaks, soon crossed the line and turned into a personal and ultimately criminal relationship. As the relationship between Gemma Sertwait and the inmate deepened, it was only a matter of time before their secret came to light. The turning point came in April 2015 when rumours about the inappropriate relationship began to circulate within the jail. The St. Clair County Sheriff's Department, led by Sheriff Tim Donnellan, took these accusations seriously. On April 18th, an internal investigation was launched to uncover the truth behind the rumours. The department's priority was to maintain the integrity of the facility and ensure that all officers adhered to the highest standards of conduct. As the investigation progressed, evidence against Sertwait began to accumulate. She was suspended for administrative reasons pending the outcome of the investigation. The internal review revealed that the inmate had been visiting Sertwait's home during her work release, which was a clear violation of professional boundaries. Sheriff Donnellan, determined to enforce the law and uphold the department's reputation, acted swiftly. On April 24th, a warrant for Sertwait's arrest was issued, marking the beginning of her legal troubles. Sertwait was arrested and charged with sexual assault with intent to penetrate, a serious felony carrying a 10-year sentence. The internal investigation had uncovered sufficient evidence to support the charges, leading to her immediate dismissal from the Sheriff's Department. The case quickly attracted public attention, and the media highlighted the abuse of trust and power within the correctional facility. The St. Clair County Sheriff's Department faced scrutiny, but Sheriff Donnellan remained committed to ensuring justice was served. By late May, Sertwait made the difficult decision to plead guilty. This plea was part of a deal to avoid a potentially longer prison sentence if found guilty of the initial charge of second-degree sexual conduct. Judge Claire Daniel Kelly addressed the severity of Sertwait's actions, emphasizing the betrayal of trust and abuse of power, stating that no judge should have to worry about a convicted individual being subjected to any form of sexual abuse. Judge Kelly sentenced Sertwait to 10 months in jail with 4 months suspended, pending payment of fines and court costs. The recommended sentence had been 18 months in prison, but the plea deal with the prosecutor and Sertwait's willingness to accept it helped reduce her sentence. Speaking about the situation, Sertwait said, "The relationship was the biggest mistake of my life. I would retract it if I could. If I could, I would take full responsibility for crossing the line from the professional to the personal. However, I don't believe I betrayed my victim's trust, as it was she who extended a hand to me." HMP Wandsworth. HMP Wandsworth, located in the southwest of London, is one of the oldest and most infamous prisons in the UK. Built in 1851, the prison has a long history marked by numerous controversies and scandals. Originally designed to house both male and female inmates, Wandsworth now operates as a Category B male prison, housing some of the most dangerous and high-profile criminals in the country. Over the years, Wandsworth has earned a reputation for its harsh conditions, overcrowding, and frequent incidents of violence. In recent years, a BBC investigation revealed that the prison openly abuses hard drugs and that some staff members are allegedly involved in smuggling them into the facility. This corruption-plagued prison would become the setting for a shocking video that appeared on the internet in June 2024. In the video, recorded inside one of the prison's smaller wings, 2 inmates and a prison officer are shown. It begins with one of the inmates holding a recording device in one hand and a cigarette in the other. The inmate's casual appearance and the presence of contraband serve as evidence of the anarchy within the prison. About 5 seconds after the video starts, the camera captures the prison officer engaging in an intimate act with the other inmate in the cell. The recording then alternates between showing the inmate and the officer and the interior of the cell for two people, which is filled with numerous items. The inmates are dressed in casual clothing. Throughout the video, the man behind the camera periodically turns it toward himself and makes comments. At one point, he says, "This is how we live in Wandsworth, bro." The officer, who appears to be aware that her actions are being recorded, continues with the illicit encounter without knowing that her private moments will soon be exposed to the world. After the encounter, the officer adjusts her uniform and leaves the cell, possibly to resume her duties. However, the damage is already done. The video quickly spreads across social media, causing outrage and disbelief. The first thing that stands out is the officer's wedding ring. A subsequent investigation reveals that she is married and has a child with her husband. The video also clearly shows the officer's face and badge, making her identification easier. As the footage circulates online, calls for justice increase. After the scandal, Wandsworth prison officials remain tight-lipped and refuse to comment on the matter. However, it is clear that an investigation will be opened to uncover the details of the relationship between the officer and the inmate. Everything seems to indicate that the officer participated voluntarily in the encounter, but until the investigation is concluded, the possibility that she was coerced or blackmailed cannot be completely ruled out. Although these prison officers were not physically assaulted, many have claimed that they were exploited in one way or another. I hope you enjoyed this edition. Give us a like if you liked the video, and remember to subscribe to The Daily Astonishing.